Welcome back to Movies Recapped. Today I will show you a science fiction movie that is filmed through the perspective of found footage and that is from 2015, called Project Almanac. Warning: spoilers ahead. Watch out and enjoy. The film starts with an MIT scholarship application video that high school senior David Raskin is filming with his sister Christina, and friends Adam and Quinn. In the video, he is showing off an experimental drone that he and his friends made and programmed. They believe that theirs can be set apart from others because theirs doesn't require a remote to control it. Theirs is sensors that can be attached to one's hands that can control it. While their test is initially going well, it does start to backfire when the drone loses signal while 180 feet in the air and falls to its doom. Despite this seeming like a failure, David couldn't be happier with the result. After submitting his video, David has been not so patiently waiting to hear back from MIT to see if he got in and got the scholarship. Finally, when the day comes, he gets the fantastic news that he has been accepted. He reads on, though, to learn that he only got $5,000 in financial aid, and not the $45,000 he was hoping for. The outrageous cost means that he won't be able to afford to attend his dream school. As he comes home from school the next day, he sees a for sale sign in the front yard of his family's home. He and Christina realize that their mother has put the house on the market so that she can pay for him to go to MIT. She says that once the house sells, she and Christina will move in with her sister. As much as David wants to follow his dreams, he is conflicted about the way that he would be able to do it. In the end, his mom tells him that this is something he needs to do. His father would have wanted him to go no matter the cost. In one last attempt to save their house, David gets help from his sister and friends to go through the belongings of his father, who was an inventor that passed away on David's 7th birthday. He hopes that he can find something he can use to apply for one last scholarship. While looking, Christina finds an old video camera with film in it from David's 7th birthday party. Missing their father, they decide to watch the film. They get more than they bargained for, though, when David spots what looks to be himself in a reflection. Not 7-year-old David, but current David. The group can't believe what they're seeing, but it's clear that what they're seeing has to be reality. They decide to try and figure out what it is David was doing in the video, and it appears that he was turning on the basement light switch. They go into the basement, which is the one place that their dad had always forbidden them to enter. Through their search, they find a trapdoor with blueprints inside. Again, they can't believe what they're seeing. In their hands are a box and blueprints for a time machine that their dad was working on for DARPA under the codename Project Almanac. They gather the supplies that the blueprints say they'll need and get to work on building the machine. The first step for the group is to make sure that they can even power the time machine, because if they can't do that, then there's no point in continuing with their experiment. It turns out that they are able to generate power to the machine, and it has some interesting side effects. Christina's hair stands on end and a light bulb that isn't plugged into a lamp lights up. They then hook up an old computer monitor to the box and are able to get a visual representation of what they've been working on. After a second test, the group knows that they are close to finishing their project. However, they need to get their hands on some hydrogen to complete it. This poses a problem because you need a permit to just be able to purchase it, not to mention the cost is more than 4 high schoolers could manage. That's when they realize that the science department at their high school has access to hydrogen, and so they break in to steal some. The hydrogen is a success, but this only leads them to realize that they need a better battery source than what they have been using, one that can be recharged. In a moment of brilliance, David realizes that the battery in an electric car would do the trick. It just so happens that the girl he has had a crush on forever, Jessie Pierce, drives a Tesla. He lets her park in their driveway during a party and they use the battery without her knowledge. The risk of getting caught, though, leads to success. They manage to send a toy car back in time, but not without causing a neighborhood-wide blackout. While the machine is gearing up, Jessie sees that there are jumper cables attached to her car and barges into the basement. She is just in time to witness as the toy car disappears. It turns out that they didn't send it back 1 minute like they were planning, but sent it 2 hours back in time. It also wound up fused with the basement wall, which doesn't bode well for human use, but that's something they can work on. Jessie is a little scared but more than impressed that they successfully built a time machine. Mostly though, she's concerned for her car which has started smoking. Jessie does get invested in the project and involved with the group. She agrees to let them keep using her car battery, and is eager to start testing it on themselves. The others are hesitant and would rather run some tests on smaller living things first. She won't hear it, though, and says that the video from David's 7th birthday is proof that the machine will work on humans. The rest of the group relents and agrees to travel back one day in time. As they are getting ready for their journey, David explains the risks involved in the time travel and tells them that none of them have to go if they aren't absolutely sure they want to. Not wanting to be left out of this historic event, everyone is still on board. They set the machine up outside and press the button to start. The trip back in time is bumpy, and it takes a little bit of time before the group fully comes to. Not sure what to do, they go to Quinn's house and break in. They find a sleeping past Quinn, and future Quinn draws a smiley face on the back of his neck, and the others watch as the same image appears on their Quinn. However, they aren't very quiet during this, and past Quinn wakes up and sees himself standing over his bed. This creates a feedback loop and nearly erases both Quinns from the timeline. David brings them back to their correct time, and they celebrate the fact that their many long hours of work are a success. It is during their celebration that they realize they aren't alone. They accidentally brought back the neighbor's dog with them. As they are driving back to their house, they see that the neighborhood has been plastered with missing dog posters. In their short time in the past, they change their reality. They agree that using the time machine for their own gain is fine, but that they should never jump alone. If one person goes, they all go. They also agree that they should film every jump, so that if something gets messed up in the time stream, they can watch the tape back and try to fix it. Lastly, they agree that no one else can know. As they discuss all of the things they want to do and see, David points out that the machine is still only strong enough to travel 3 weeks back, so they still have plenty of experimenting and tweaking of it that they need to do. One of their experiments is to help Quinn pass his chemistry class. He has been falling since dedicating so much time to working on the time machine. They realize in doing this that people act differently in every loop. He might be asked one question in one loop, but a completely different one in another. They go on to do other experiments such as get Christina's bully to leave her alone, increase their popularity, and win the lottery to stop the sale of their house and go on a shopping spree. With their winnings, David is able to buy a super-powered battery for the machine that will allow them to travel further back. David gets more and more obsessed with perfecting the machine and works on it non-stop. Finally, he admits to Jesse that he has been putting so much time into it because he wants to be able to go back in time and save his dad's life. He knows that he can safely use the machine to go back in time 3 months, so he takes his friends to Lollapalooza and hands them VIP passes. There, it is clear that Jesse likes him back, but he hesitates to admit out loud how he feels. Once they get back to their present, they realize that things have changed. This time it is much bigger than a missing dog. Christina's bully is now her best friend. Adam is crazy popular, and things between David and Jesse are now incredibly awkward. Watching the tape from Lollapalooza back, David realizes where he made his mistake. He breaks the group's #1 rule and travels alone back to the concert to fix it. When he returns, it is to a timeline where the two of them have been dating since the summer. However, he also comes back to find that their traveling has had some massive consequences that they never could have predicted, all because one little thing changed, and the effects rippled out. They are able to narrow the start of the ripple to their very first successful time travel when they sent the toy car back in time and caused a blackout. It turns out that in the sudden darkness of the blackout, their school's star basketball player was hit by a car. This resulted in him breaking his leg and not being able to play in the championship game, which in turn caused his pilot father to crash a commercial airline and kill 77 people, among other events. Thinking that this all happened because he traveled alone to Lollapalooza, David comes clean to Adam. Before Adam can make him confess to the others, David jumps alone again. This time he goes back to the night of the blackout to save the basketball player from getting in the accident. When he comes back, though, he finds that the consequences are much more personal. After the basketball game, Adam was in a car accident. Now he is in a coma. David travels back in time alone again to stop this accident from happening, but as he is about to leave, Jesse catches him. She accidentally joins him on this trip and ends up confronting him about why he was traveling alone. He admits that he has been jumping alone since Lollapalooza to fix how he handled the situation between the two of them. Obviously, this upsets her and Jesse yells at him. But while they are making up, the Jesse from this timeline appears. Like when past and future Quinn saw each other, a feedback loop is created. This time, though, David is not able to stop it and Jesse is erased from the timeline. Not knowing what else to do, David returns to his correct time. Out of options, David is planning to go back in time to stop the machine from ever being built. However, he isn't able to do this because they are out of hydrogen. It isn't long that he is back until the police show up looking for David. They suspect that he might have something to do with Jesse's disappearance. Instead of talking to them, David runs. He manages to evade them all day, and he breaks into his school to get one more hydrogen canister. Just as the police break into his hiding spot, he activates the machine. Rather than going back to when they found the old tape of David's 7th birthday, David goes back to the day of his 7th birthday. He confronts his father, Ben, about the machine and Ben recognizes him. He realizes that one day David will complete the time machine, but David tells him that that can't happen. The machine is too dangerous for that. The two have a heartfelt moment where Ben tells David that he's proud of him. Ben leaves and David destroys the blueprints. By destroying the plans, this ensures that the machine is never built, which means that teenage David would have no way to actually be there. The resulting paradox erases David from the timeline, but he leaves behind the camera with all of the time travel adventures. Back in the future, which is now an alternate timeline, David and Christina go through their father's belongings just like before. This time though, they don't find the old camera and the blueprints. This time, they find both cameras and are shocked by the events that happened in the previous timeline. Using the knowledge that Jessie likes him, David walks up to her at school and tells her that the two of them are about to change the world. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.